Hey guys, it's Matt, and this is episode 16 of Mind Strength. So for today, I had an interesting topic to talk about. Idle hands. You know, like when you leave your hands too long and they start to get a little tingly. Of course, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the old adage, the old saying, idle hands are the devil's playground. Now, this is a saying that I used to hate and now I've come to really adore. It took me a while to build up to really kind of understanding the exact implications of this. A lot of people will take it as it's sort of just get out there and, don't be lazy, don't be whatever. And to a point, it is. I mean, don't sit around. The saying, idle hands are the devil's playground, insinuating that if you're not doing something with your hands, you're more likely to get in trouble, do something that is devil quality or, inappropriate. But for me, it also doesn't just mean the who's deciding what's evil and all that kind of stuff. To me, it also is you're less productive if you do not stay focused and stay doing something. For instance, as I'm filming this, we're all locked down for the COVID issue going on. If you're watching this later or whatever, think to yourself, while you're sitting idle at any point, are you doing anything productive or are you just sitting idle? And now I do understand that you need some downtime, some idle time at times. I'm not downplaying that. However, while you're sitting still, while you're at an idle time, are you always idle? Are you always down and not doing any work? Or are there times where you are very productive during a time where you have the free time to do it? Even if it's 10 minutes. 10 minutes, 5 minutes, a full day, whatever that happens to be, are you being productive during those times? Now, on this topic, I had 2 points that I really wanted to touch on today. The first point is getting to the mindset of, I need stuff done. You got to get in that mindset. It's not just a wake up in the whim thing. It's something you really got to push towards in your head. I know at times I'll sit and I'll be like, oh, I just don't feel like doing things or whatever. But that adage goes through my head. Idle hands. I don't want the idle hands. I don't want to sit around and do nothing and waste what I have. You wake up, you waste that time in the middle. By the time you're going to bed, you realize that you got nothing done. So wake up, and if you know you're going to have an idle day, or if it happens to be half hour out of the day, if you're not just waking up, be productive. Get in the mindset of keeping productive, keeping doing something, keeping moving. Try and build up this training in your mind of you don't want to sit still, at least if you don't need to. Now, if you need the downtime, understandable. But elongated periods of downtime are not useful and they're not going to bear any fruit in your life if you sit and do nothing. Keep productive. Keep that mindset of, I know I have to get this done. And that leads me to my second point, which is stay organized with it. Now, if you have to actually write a chart, like a lot of times I have a dry erase board, I'll write it out and like what I want done today or, check marks, that kind of thing. If you have to do that, but also mentally just as well. Know kind of, especially if it's like a day prior that you know you're going to have a day free or whatever, sort of organize the night before or whatever in your head what you want to get done so that you have goals, you have landmarks that you can just go ahead, start achieving those things. And like I said, the visual representation for me of a dry erase board or a piece of paper where you can physically check off those things and you visually see this is what I did, this is what I need to do, then it sets sort of a timeline goal in your head before the end of the day, before this stretch of idle period. So my hands are not sitting idle. I need to get these things done. I also noticed with this that when I do this, when I sort of perform this type of action, the day does not seem so sluggish. I don't have time to think about things that are sort of depressing to me or anything, especially when I'm going through making things or doing things or creating, finishing, working on, building, whatever it is I happen to be doing. A lot of the negativity gets flushed out of me. I get a creative feeling. I get a whoosh of joy out of what I'm doing. So it pushes those negative things away and brings in some of the joy. So even thoughts that aren't specifically delegated to this project are coming in, but a lot of the times they're way more joyful than they are if I'm sitting alone or sitting idle and letting the negative ones creep in and they start to clutter my mind. I let the joy in when I keep working. Lastly, I wanted to say on this point was uh, during this time, especially during this COVID or during the idle times that we were speaking of, learning things small or big, doing things small or big, can count in this as well. I'm not downplaying if you've done a thing. My advice would be hold yourself accountable to learn or do one thing at least a day. Hold yourself accountable to just saying, okay, today I learned how to tie a shoe in a different way. Today I learned how to build something. Today I built something. Just make one task, whether you learned something new or built something, did something, constructed, created something new. Just make at least one. Now, if you can do multiples, that's great. Keep doing, keep going. But at least hold yourself accountable for one thing a day. And you will build yourself as a person as you learn these one things, as you go along. That kind of goes back to the dry erase board visual representation that I was speaking of. If you want to write down every day one thing that you have learned, one thing that you have done, one thing you've accomplished, so that you have a visual feeling, a visual reference point of I was here and now I'm here. It's a progress chart. Because this channel is dedicated to mental strength, obviously, on the mental front, progress, in my opinion, really helps out with mental health. It really helps out with feeling like I've accomplished something and giving me a sense of purpose, giving me positivity. So if you get yourself to a point where you are disciplined to keep doing things and to stay moving and not go idle, not let the devil's hands go, then also, second, organizing those and making sure they're on an organized mental scale, and then kind of with that organization, showing your progress in your head, it should help out a lot if you are having any mental issues of feeling like you are sitting still or idle or non-progression. Doing these things, even as small as one thing a day, can really help out with that. So with that, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and stay strong.